Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Esma. We shall be continuing autoregulation of GFR and renal blood flow. In the previous lecture, we did what autoregulation was, the mechanisms involved in autoregulation, juxtaglomerular apparatus in detail, and tubuloglomerular feedback in detail. Now we shall be moving forward. Angiotensin II, as we all know, has a preferential constrictive action on the efferent arterioles, and this basically helps to prevent serious reductions in glomerular hydrostatic pressure when the renal perfusion pressure falls below normal. So drugs which block the action of angiotensin II or drugs that block angiotensin II receptors should not be given to patients who have hypertension as a result of renal artery stenosis, and this is basically because already the renal perfusion pressure is way normal in such patients, and if these drugs are given, then it will cause a serious reduction in GFR, and this can even lead to acute renal failure. But nonetheless, these drugs can be given to hypertensive patients and patients with congestive heart failure with monitoring of GFR. Now we shall be going on to myogenic autoregulation of renal blood flow. This is the intrinsic ability of the blood vessels to resist stretching during increased arterial pressure, and this phenomena is known as myogenic mechanism. Whenever there is a stretch of the vascular wall, it allows increased movement of calcium ions from the extracellular fluids into the walls of the smooth muscles. This leads them to contract, and this contraction then prevents over distension of the vessel by raising the vascular resistance, and then helps to prevent excessive increases in the renal blood flow and GFR when the arterial pressure increases. High protein intake and an increase in blood glucose lead to increased renal blood flow and GFR. In case of increased high protein meal, there is increased release of amino acids into the blood, and these are deabsorbed in the proximal tubule. Because the amino acids and sodium are reabsorbed together in the form of co-transport by the proximal tubules, increased amino acid reabsorption also stimulates sodium reabsorption in the proximal tubules. This decreases the sodium delivery to the macula densa, and this elicits the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, which leads to decreased resistance of afferent arterioles and then raises the renal blood flow and GFR. This increased GFR allows the sodium excretion to be maintained at normal level while increasing the excretion of waste products of protein metabolism such as urea. Even large increases in blood glucose levels in cases of uncontrolled diabetes mellitus increase the renal blood flow and GFR, and the mechanism is similar to that for amino acids. Glucose is also reabsorbed along with sodium in the proximal tubule. Increased glucose delivery to the tubules causes them to absorb excess sodium along with glucose. This decreases the delivery of sodium chloride to the macula densa, activating the tubuloglomerular feedback mediated dilatation of afferent arterioles and a subsequent increase in renal blood flow and GFR. What is glomerulotubular balance? This is the intrinsic ability of the tubules to increase their reabsorption rates in response to increased tubular inflow. As I have already told you that glomerulotubular balance is basically a second line of defense to buffer the effects of sudden changes in GFR or urine output, and this prevents the overload of distal tubular segments when GFR increases. For example, if the GFR is increased from 125 to 150 milliliter per minute, the absolute rate of proximal tubular reabsorption also increases from 81 to 97.5 milliliter per minute. So the total rate of reabsorption increases as the filtered load increases, even though the percentage of GFR reabsorbed remains relatively constant. How the glomerulotubular balance occurs: in case of increase in GFR, there would be an increase in filtration fraction. This would lead to increased amount of proteins being left behind in the glomerular capillaries, which would increase the oncotic pressure over there. When the blood of when the blood with increased proteins reaches the peritubular capillaries, it increases the osmotic pressure in the peritubular capillaries, which leads to increased reabsorption in the proximal tubule. This is a flow chart showing the comparison between the glomerulotubular balance and the tubuloglomerular feedback. As you can see, the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism links changes in the salt and fluid delivery in the tubule with the glomerular feedback, whereas in case of glomerulotubular balance, the glomerular changes of GFR are linked with solute reabsorption at the level of the tubules.